Well, hello again. This is Hiro. I wanted to kind of explain to you some of the rocks that I have been getting. Well, this one here is something that was found on my property, not along the stream bed, but within the farming area, if you want to call it farming. Well, my dad wanted to do some farming, so he kept trying to improve the land. Every time there was a hole to be dug, these rocks would pop out. And this one here for our Ishizukuri, it looks like it would be great to build a lantern here, and then maybe incense burner or water basin, something like that, right? But what I wanted to show you was this is a archaeological rock. See this? This side is very smooth, and it took a while for me to figure it out, but this was used for, remember I was telling you my dad, every time he hit these rocks, he would put them in a bucket and left it here and there. And I think at one point there was over 50 of them. And finally it dawned on me what some of this is used for. See, like this? And well, you know, to make color for baskets and things like that, they take different color stones and they rub against something like this, right? So that's what this is. And then I kept wondering why so many of the rocks have these flat surfaces, which makes for a really good Ishizukuri because it makes it very stable. Sometimes though, like this one is at an angle, sometimes it could be used that way. But anyway, that's what I've been realizing, is that a lot of these things have been used by the Indians as tools of their trade. But now it makes an excellent base for our Ishizukuri, because the base should be fairly stable, right? This is about as stable as it's going to be. Here's another one. This one I thought originally was just a broken piece, but see, this side is smooth, like somebody's been rubbing on it. And then we have this side that is less smooth. Well, according to Dr. Johnson, our resident archaeologist in this area, he said that quite often a tool that was used for a certain purpose were broken up to make into something else. So this one here found this rock nearby. This is ochre, or you could get a sort of tan, yellow tan kind of color out of this. So I'm beginning to realize that, okay, so if you keep rubbing on this side, you end up with a piece that will be great for Ishizukuri. Well, I found this piece and I thought, oh, it can't be much of anything. Well, I ran it past Dr. Johnson, and this is what he told me. It is an arrowhead that is missing parts. See? So this part is missing. Well, gee, that makes sense. So anyway, here's another one that has a very smooth side, so it probably went like that. But Dr. Johnson could not identify what it was used for. I've gone through hundreds of rocks, right? And I see these with these notches in here like that, repeated. See? This is a few of the samples, but I've seen dozens and dozens of these with a little notch like that. And what they're used for, I'm not sure. This one here looked like a tool of some sort, and then I think they modified it later on. Of course, we're talking about hundreds, if not thousands of years ago. So I think I mentioned before, Dr. Johnson said that there was two sets of the population here, the Indian population. The Modern would be the Maidu, but he said there is a prehistoric. So not prehistoric, prehistory, I guess. Anyway, he said not much is known about that group, but he said we could recognize a lot of the tools. Well, because of the tools, you could identify which one was what. I don't remember if he told me about this one, but anyway, you could see how a lot of these things get made, and then for what purpose, I don't know. Here's another one. Now, there's two sources for my ishizukuri that's on the property. One is in the creek, and they tend to be cleaner. But these that I'm showing you today were found on the property, so it's a good 50 feet higher than the creek, and then, you know, hundreds of yards away from the creek. So we know for sure that it was brought up, not natural occurring. This looks like they modified it for some reason, but let's say that if we're making ishizukuri, right? And then take this one, flip it on its side, it looks like the roof, although it would be better if we had this part here. But let's just pretend that this is perfectly round, so this becomes the roof. Well, look at it, it becomes the cap. That's why I've been having a much easier time than a lot of you who only have access to the river or the creek. This one here, well, I think according to Dr. Johnson, remember from our social studies about the Native Americans and how they did the cooking, right? They had the waterproof basket they wove, and then to heat it, they took these rocks and heated in the fire and then threw it in. Well, the shock, I think, makes it crack like that. So this is for cooking. Not much use for ishizukuri yet, although, hey, you know, maybe. So, and I mean, these are the things that you want to explore yourself. Take something that nobody would think of making something and then make it into something. Hey, actually, this might be nice looking with as a finish as a lantern, right? It's fairly stable. Anyway, these are the process that I go through. Well, this is a kind of a poor sample, but I've found rocks that have these perfect angles, perfect right angles. Unfortunately, the two good ones that I had, I made them into ishizukuri. Okay, this one here, well, if you look at the bottom side, I put the pencil mark so you could see where the actual rock went. See this right angle? It was fairly smooth, and this part was perfect. And how they could achieve such a preciseness, I have no idea. But look, it makes for a great way to do a ishizuki that you cannot do any other way. Okay, this is the same thing. You can see straight line here, and then as I turn this, see this one had a perfect right angle in there. So this part was being used for smoothing and this and that. And then of course this tall thing, I don't know what it's used for, but there is a smooth side right here. But I want it to stand up, so I put it in the notch, and these are holding it in place. So anyway, I wish I had the foresight to have taken a picture or video of these rocks before I got started, but hey, when you're trying to make 1,000 of them, you know, you tend to be in more of a hurry. Well, I hope you had a quick lesson in archaeology. I've been fortunate that the Native Americans have left me all these pieces that I can make into new art form. Hopefully I'm not degrading or disregarding the wishes of the Native American population, but these were just discarded tools. Oh yeah, according to Dr. Johnson, he thinks this property where we've been finding all this was a processing site. They would come here seasonally, process whatever they were doing, and then move on. And well, it makes perfect sense, but he said that they didn't take the rocks with them. It's too heavy. So they have a set of rocks here, and it's another set in other places, right? So anyway, that's brief history of some of the rocks that I've been getting here on site. Thanks to our predecessors, the Maidus, and the group before that we don't know much about. Also, I'll be showing some in the future. There's been some Chinese modified rocks. Okay, so during the gold rush, this property had almost 2,000 people, and they were segregated. So my piece of property, the 20 acres, had most of the Chinese, and then my next door neighbor had the European. And so anyway, I run across some rocks that was modified by the Chinese, and then hopefully we'll talk about that in the future chapters. Anyway, so this is what I've been doing. I've been kind of working with what I was able to find over the last 60 years that we've been on this property. And then I'll be going down to the creek later this year to install my irrigation pump. And then according to my neighbor, there's been a major shift in the water flow again. Also, I read somewhere that this is going to be a great year for gold hunting because of the tremendous storms we had. A lot of the gold will be redeposited in areas. Okay, so anyway, this is Hiro saying goodbye. Hopefully you enjoy these little chapters on bits of history around Virginia town. Okay, I was kind of messing around. So this is sort of a imperfect rock. I'm not sure what it was used for. And then this one here, definitely imperfect. It just blew up. But look, once I stabilize this, and look what I can do with this. And I think this is the true art of ishizukuri. Take two insignificant parts and try to make something unique out of it. So I think you'll see this in the future as a finished product. Well, I'm back. Remember I was saying, I think this will make a nice one. It turned out to be pretty nice. Well, you know, I make multiple videos, and while I was making, and I have some of this cement mix, I thought, why not? But look, that crack actually looks interesting, isn't it? So I think that's going to be the beauty of the ichizukuri. We could take discarded material and make it into something very artistic. Oh, this side's not bad. It doesn't look broken, but the more I look at it, I like this side because it's very natural. Of course, it blew up when they were trying to heat the water, but it's one of those you cannot duplicate, right? So anyway, now that's a little extra that I throw in.